I had a call from a Jim in Atwater asking me about Tony Dossetti. I called him a weather vane. Whichever way the wind blows, that's the way Tony goes.
It's a big weather vane.
Yeah, well, he's
if anybody
not that
knows
good of a
Tony.
weather vane. Jim goes, well, what were you talking about? And I said, well, this was in reference to the Mansionette development over there off of G Street and Yosemite Avenue, a building that Dr. Laccaretti wanted to get the zoning change from residential to commercial. And Tony had originally voted no to the zoning change, stood behind the residents over there at Mansionette. And this was a project that had been at the previous city council when Mayor Bill Spriggs, who used to have a pen and pencil shop here in town, Spriggs Stationery, people might remember that. Anyway, it was that council's purview, and the city planning department didn't do the I's and the T's right, and so it got kicked to the next council. And so when it came through, there was a lot of promotion by the residents there to not have this project commercial because they were promised a residential development behind their house. So Tony went along with that. He stood behind the residents. He saw the light. Well, a year later, the applicant came back and asked to have the zoning issue reconsidered, and suddenly Tony changed his vote, and he didn't stand behind the residents, and really nothing changed in the project. His excuse was weak, and it had no merit. And he was the only one, and so his vote, unfortunately, allowed the project to go through. Now, that project hasn't been built, folks, and the reason it hasn't been built because of Obamacare, and things have changed in the medical landscape, and Dr. Laccaretti can't get anybody to go in there, not even his own father, because there's no money in it.
To invest in, you mean?
To investment. So anyway, Mr. Dossetti is running for District 3 Supervisor in Atwater, and I think the folks of Atwater are concerned how he's going to be as governance. And all I can say is, well, whichever way the wind blows, that's the way Tony goes. Yeah. And I think that it shows a lack of leadership. He was a forgettable chief of police, and he's even more forgettable as a councilman. So if people want to use him as a supervisor, beware. Right. Because I don't think Mr. Dossetti, he aligns himself to whatever's popular. Because I saw you, Tony, when you met with Bill Spriggs down there at Bella Luna, and you had that little confab, and suddenly your vote changes. So why? So it'll be interesting to have Mr. Dossetti in during this election season and talk about why you changed your vote, Tony, because if that's the way you govern, I would caution the people of Atwater to choose carefully in this election.
And there's another candidate out there who's a school board member.
Mr. Snyder, Will Snyder III, another one that's kind of blowing in the wind.
Well, whisper some things in our ear about a certain gentleman that we pursued vigorously.
Mm-hmm. We'll continue.
And I guess we will continue. But my point is now that he is running for District 3 Supervisor, all of a sudden he seems to have made nice with this individual that he came in here talking very unflatteringly about. And
suddenly what was an issue isn't an issue. And folks, this is the good old boy, just a good old boy. This is a system we talk about that needs to be dismantled in this country.
So be aware of that gentleman, too, you Atwater voters.
That's right.
Here's another guy that, six the dogs on an individual, and as soon as there's some kind of agreement reached.
Yeah, what happened? What happened behind the scenes? Suddenly an issue is not an issue?
Exactly right.
Bull. So, we're going to have, on Thursday's show, we're going to have one of the sheriff's candidates come in, Mr. Swigert. He's going to come in for a couple of segments, give his position. We encourage all of the sheriff's candidates to come in, actually, and any candidate that's running for office, 209-406-8728. You can call us. We're going to try to reach out to you, get you in here before the June primary. First Tuesday in June is when we make a decision. There'll probably be runoffs in some of these races if people don't get the full 50+1. But anyway, I just wanted to respond to Jim in Atwater, his question, why I called Tony a weather vane, why I said that he was indecisive.
Could be a couple of weather vanes in that district.
Well, I think so. And so you need to really research. Go ahead, Robert.
You look at all four candidates.
In the District 3 race?
Yeah.
Lynn Davis,
and
Will Snyder III, Tony Dossetti, and Darren McDaniels.
I finally met Lynn Davis.
Yeah.
He supported the Idlos Atwater Merchants Night. Thank you, Lynn. But some things he said makes me think that he's a little bit, this is my opinion, that he's a little bit out of touch with what's going on.
He's very out of touch. He doesn't even know what the district attorney's doing.
I think that Tony Dossetti did a couple of years as city council, and now all of a sudden he thinks he's a seasoned veteran where he can run for...
Yeah, what's the deal, Tony? You still got 3 years left in your term.
But the situation is he has that right.
Well,
now I don't think, and my thing with Tony is he lives in Merced. He lives in that sliver piece of Merced, and I think in order to understand and to be a viable candidate for
Atwater,
that you need to know the Atwater politics. They have some things going on there that are very different and very unusual, and I think you really need to be there. You can't just go there to show up for baby kissings. Okay, so Tony, I think you're at a little bit of a disadvantage because you live in that sliver of Merced that's lumped in the Atwater.
And and the Mansionette sliver isn't in Tony's district. So why, he's not worried about what he did over there at Mansionette. Folks,
I don't know what it is, but
the great thing is Tony will have an opportunity to explain his change of position. Hopefully,
sure want to hear it.
We'll
Tony.
get him on the show, and like I said,
more than welcome.
That's what we're all about here. This is our understanding of things. Mr. Snyder also.
Exactly.
Come in, explain.
Mr. Davis.
This is a friendly fire zone.
This is.
All we're trying to do is get the best men and women for the jobs.
And your vote stands. All we have to. You meet 24 times a year down there at City Hall. And all we have is your record to go on, because that's what you stand on, is your record. Folks, we're coming up to our second break here on Citizen Watch on AM 1480 KYOS, the voice of the Valley. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.